Retrieve Reformation by O. Henry. Introducing. One day in a prison shoe shop, there was this man named Jimmy Valentine who worked there making shoes, and an officer led him to the prison's office.
A letter for you, Mr. Valentine.
Thanks, officer. Jimmy took the paper without looking surprised. Jimmy was supposed to stay in prison for 4 years, but got 10 months instead. For a man with a lot of friends, you wouldn't expect him to be in prison for long.
Valentine, you will be released from prison tomorrow morning. This is a chance for you to get a new head start on life and for you to stop breaking open safes.
Me? I've never broken into a safe in my life. What are you talking about?
Oh, really? Well, how about you explain on why you were in Springfield and you were caught breaking open a safe? Maybe it was because you were with some lady and you didn't want to release her name. You men have always had an excuse for why you shouldn't be here.
Me? I've never been to Springfield in my life. What are you talking about?
Take him away. You will give him the clothes he needs to go outside, and you will bring him back here at 7 in the morning.
The officer took him to his cell again to stay the night. At 7:15 on the next morning, Jimmy stood again in the office with clothes that didn't fit him. They gave him $5 for a train trip, and then he was released. Before he left, he gave the police officer a handshake. Goodbye, officer. After having dinner at a restaurant, Jimmy gave a blind man some money, and then he went to the train station. Jimmy had got to the train station, and then he was there waiting for the train to arrive. When the train arrived, Jimmy Valentine got on the train, waiting for his next stop. Jimmy Valentine had arrived at his stop. He got off the train, going into a small town. After a couple hours later, Jimmy had gotten off the train into a small town. He entered a restaurant of Mike Dolan, his friend.
I'm sorry we couldn't do this sooner, Jimmy, my boy, but there was a safe in Springfield. Are you doing okay?
I'm fine. Is my room still waiting for me?
Yep, same as how you left it.
Jimmy had a ride to Mike Dolan's restaurant, and then he went up to his room. Jimmy went to his room. Everything was in place just how he left it. There was a small piece of clothing on the floor, torn from the cop's coat, from the fight Jimmy had with them. Jimmy suspected that everything was in place just how he left it. Jimmy found and opened the small door behind his bed once he pulled it into the middle of the room. It opened and he discovered that there was a bag covered in dust. Jimmy, after dusting the bag, he opened it and found lovingly his tools for breaking open a safe. There were no other tools alike to his. They were in different sizes and different shapes. They were especially made in a different store. Jimmy put the bed back. He had put his backpack on, and then in half an hour later, Jimmy went downstairs to the restaurant. He got dressed in comfortable clothes and he had his bag with him.
So, any plans?
I don't understand. I work for the New York famous cake and bread makers factory. We used to make the best bread and cake. I don't understand.
How's life been for you?
Well, I've been to prison for 10 months instead of 4 years, so that's good. I got released on good conduct. And the crowding in the prison, so they wanted to get out some of the good people, to say it like that. Um, yeah, I made a couple friends in there, if you could say that. I worked at a prison shoe shop, and I made a lot of shoes. Then one day, an officer came forward to me. He gave me a letter that said I was going to be released for the good conduct, as I said. But how about your life?
It's been great. I have a wife, kids. It's a lot of hard work, but it is worth it. Gotta get it done.
How's the restaurant going?
The restaurants, it's going great so far. It's going great. Got a lot of customers. Food's good, and yeah, it's great.
Ben Price went to Richmond, Indiana, into Logansport to investigate how it had been done in all those places. Ben knew how Jimmy worked. Jimmy would go from city to city and worked alone, and it was clean.
I can see that Jimmy Valentine has been on work again. His work is easy and clean. And next time he goes to prison, it's gonna be for a long time.
One evening, Jimmy Valentine and his bag arrived at Elmore. Jimmy was very young, and he walked down the streets towards a hotel. He saw this woman and forgot why he was there. Isn't that Lady Polly Simpson? No, her name's Annabelle Adams. Her father's the owner of the bank. After talking with the kid, Jimmy arrived to the hotel. Good evening. I was looking to book a room. What would be the name for the room, sir? Yeah, the name for the room will be Ralph D. Spencer. All right, and how many nights would he be staying? Yeah, here's my method of payment. It'll be one night. I'm here on business, actually. Okay, but before you leave, you should really explore Elmore. I have a question. Is there like a good shoe shop in the area? Well, over here there isn't a shoe shop. We could really use one, actually. Oh, okay, that's fine. Um, Thanks for everything. Have a good evening. You too, Mr. Spencer. Have a great day. Mr. Ralph remained in Elmore. He started a successful shoe business. He made a lot of friends. He met Annabelle Adams. He liked her better every day. At the end of the year, everyone knew Mr. Spencer in Elmore. He and Annabelle were going to be married in 2 weeks. Annabelle was very proud of him. One day, Jimmy sat down in his room to write a letter to his old friend. Dear old friend, I want you to meet me at Sullivan's Place next week on the evening of the 10th. I want to give you my tools. I know you'll be glad to have them. You couldn't buy them for $1,000. I finished with the old business a year ago. I have a nice shop. I'm living a better life. And I'm going to marry the best girl on earth 2 weeks from now. It's the only life I ever wanted. I wouldn't ever touch another man's money ever again. After I marry her, I'm going to go to the further west where I'll never see anyone who knew me in my past again. I'm telling you, she's a wonderful girl. She trusts me. Bye, your old friend, Jimmy. On the Monday night after Jimmy sent this letter, Ben Price arrived quietly in Elmore. You're going to marry the banker's daughter, are you, Jimmy? Said Ben to himself. I don't feel sure about that. Jimmy went to the Adams home. He met most of the Adams family. They were going to go shopping, but before that, they passed Jimmy's hotel. He ran up to get his bag.
Ralph, how heavy is this bag? It feels like a lot of gold.
Honey, it's full of some stuff that I don't need in the shop anymore. I'm taking them to the city because it saves me the cost of sending them, and also I need to learn how to save money since I'm going to be a married man. The Elmore Bank had a new safe. Mr. Adams was very proud of it. He showed a lot of people. It was as large as a small room. It had a special door. The door was controlled by a clock. Using the clock, the banker planned the time when the door should be open. The two children, May and Agatha, enjoyed seeing the shiny heavy door with all its special parts.
I'm not here on business. I'm here waiting for a man.
The door can't be open and the clock hasn't even started.
Ralph, help her. You have to do something. There's not enough air. She's gonna die of fear.
Help me! Isn't there something you meant to do? Ralph, can you please do something? My baby's in there, please.
Give me the flower.
What? Why?
Just give it to me. Annabelle couldn't believe what Ralph had said. He put his bag on the table and opened it flat. From that time on, he seemed not to know that anyone else was near. Quickly, he laid the shining, strange tools on the table. The others watched as if they had lost the power to move. In a minute, Jimmy was at work on the door. In 10 minutes, faster than he had ever done it before, he had opened the door. Agatha was taken into her mother's arms. Jimmy Valentine put on his coat, picked up the flower, and walked towards the door. As he went, he thought he heard a voice call Ralph. He did not stop. At the big door, a man stood in his way.
You're here at last and price. It's fine, just take me already. I don't care anymore.
I do believe you're wrong, Mrs. Spencer. I don't believe I know you, do I?
Ben Price turned and walked slowly down the street.
But you guys took too long. Like, the fact that I went to prison.
Well, that's what you get for breaking safes.
Started again. Shit, I should say goodbye, officer.
But wait, it has to close.
What?
Y'all keep on yelling. Cast and credits: Alexander, performing the role of Jimmy Wells, Ralph D. Spencer, narrator and editor. Adrian Buendia, performing the role of the warden and Ben Price. Jamal Graves, performing the role of Mike Dolan. Cecilia Irizarry, performing the role of Annabelle Adams. Anira, performing the role of Agatha. That'll be all, and thanks for your attention.